Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Now, I've decided to split the new 8th Doctor story into 4 individual podcasts, one for each of the stories from this boxed set. I'll release one per week together with my other podcasts and it'll all be alright. You know the drill, you know what's happening. So basically, we're going to start the box set because I like to pace myself when it comes to the 4th Doctor. I enjoy Tom's performances so much that if I do them all in one go in some strange, uncontrollable binge, it's just going to upset me. Because then I wait ages for more. So I'm thinking 1 a week's perfectly acceptable. So this week's story is the beginning of the brand new box set. Now, it's 1978. I know, 1978. Tell you what, here's the synopsis. The Sinestran Kill by Andrew Smith. When the Doctor decides to trace an anomalous energy signature on 20th century Earth, he stumbles into an assassination attempt. Gangland thugs are trying to murder a seemingly innocent shopkeeper, and it's only the intervention of the Doctor and Ann Kelso, a WPC, who happens to be on the scene, that prevents a tragedy. But why do the gangsters want the shopkeeper dead? And what does this have to do with alien technology? The first stages of a grand conspiracy are about to be revealed, and finding the answer will take Ann Kelso on a journey like no other. So, back in 1978, we'd just lost Leela, and we were going to get Romana 1. Now, Mary Tam can, appear in Doctor Who up to a certain point, and then of course we can't have her anymore. It's not our fault, we just can't. We can't have any Sarah Jane Smith stories, same reason. Romana 2, well, we can have some Romana 2 stories, but they are kind of recorded separate and put together, and that's just a big, hectic nonsense. And then of course we're left with Euradric stories and so on, but there's a big gaping hole. We've got Tom, but we've got no one for him to play with. And Louise is going to be quite busy this year, or at least in the period when this is being recorded. I've got a feeling these were recorded some time ago. But anyway, Tom's busy away talking, and we want more Doctor Who while we still can have some more exciting Tom. They're recording them at a rate of knots, which is lovely. But the logical solution is to insert a brand new companion. I know some people would balk at this, and a few years ago it would have had people up in arms. But these days, we just don't care, we're just grateful. So, imagine in your head that there is a series in between Romana turning up and Leela leaving. Something where the Doctor has currently got a big box full of what becomes K9 Mark II, and this is where it happens. Now, the following season is the Key to Time season, which means that you've got one big continuing story arc. So, logically, if you've got, say, a whole series or 2 or 3 or hopefully more crammed into this little gap, you can have big extending story arcs. Makes sense. Of course it does. So, this is the Syndicate Master Plan. That's what this box set's called, this overarching Torchwoody style thing. And Torchwood meaning as in, let's call it a Bad Wolfie type thing. A big overarching thing. Now, just like your Key to Time series, the stories kind of only hint at the overarching story as part of the larger narrative. So you've got basically 4 standalone stories in this set and 4 in the next one. You know what? I'm going to do some maths and work out how many TV 4th Doctor stories there were, and then compare it to how many audio 4th Doctor stories there have been. I'm wondering if there's more 4th Doctor just like there has been more of everyone else. Leaving only, I suspect, the 9th, well, the Eccleston Doctor having more stories on TV than on audio. And that's not important. What is important is that this is the introduction of a brand new character. Now, I was listening to the Staggering Stories podcast very recently, and Andrew Purcell was making a very valid point. He'd always wanted a police officer to be a companion of the Doctor. He thought he was going to get that with Amy Pond. What he got was somebody who dresses up as a police officer. And now with Yaz, he may have that on TV, except of course she's not coming across as a police officer very much. I mean, it wasn't until Christmas that I realised she didn't have her extending baton with her at all, which would have been an ideal piece of kit to carry. But you don't want to encourage kids there, do you? And so, into the world steps something that I think will please Mr. Purcell. Ann Kelso. Jane Slavin is a superb actress, writer, performer. Her work with Big Finish has been wonderful. I just want to point my learned colleagues in the direction of Attagirl and basically anything else she's done. She also manages to get on remarkably well with Tom, and that is a great thing. Because if you can keep Tom happy, you get great performances out of him, and that is something that makes everybody happy. It really does. So, we've got this brand new WPC, I know, women police officer. I'm so glad that's just been phased out. It's police officer, constable or anything like that. Now, when you've got a story set in the 70s, there is a temptation for it to become more life on Mars, especially with the time travel aspects, but Doctor Who has a great facility for making things their own. And the logical, perfect choice for writing a story that introduces a new companion, and introduces a companion that's a police officer, well, that's got to be Andrew Smith. Ex-police officer and person who knows the actual reality. Someone with life skills far beyond just being a writer. When I became an animator at the beginning, the lecturer in the department did say that you need life skills beyond what you're good at here in order to bring something new and fresh to your work. It's only 20 odd years later that I can completely see the point. Andrew's managing to bring all of his life skills and experience to his work as a writer, combining the two perfectly. You can see this on Star Cops, well, hear this on Star Cops, to great effect, and here it works brilliantly because we're left with a 70s Doctor Who and a 70s police department. Frank Skinner's here, trying desperately not to be in an episode of The Sweeney, and he pulls it off perfectly. He's a well-balanced, proper copper, someone who you can believe exists in the role, not somebody who's just a caricature, a rogue cop, someone like that. No, this is someone who knows about UNIT and just wants them all to go away. It's a lovely, lovely change. You've got your gangsters, your thugs, and yes, you've got the BBC. You've got your original 70s. It wasn't BBC at all, it was ITV, wasn't it? It was Thames. With the Sweeney, you've got that kind of feel. But yeah, you've got Life on Mars, but it's none of those things. It is truly its own thing. But of course, it's always Jane Slavin's Anne at the complete centre of this. A great introduction story for a great new companion. Yes, there are shape-changing aliens, there are things like that going on in the storyline, and that keeps me going. You can almost see the wibbly blue outlines as they change from one shape to another. The CSO is visible on audio, and that's something that is just testimony to a well-written, well-crafted script. I, for one, welcome Anne to the pantheon of companions, and look forward to more stories. I can't wait to hear more. And with that, I'll play you the trailer and let you decide whether you want this or not, because I know for a fact that you will. So until next time, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, The Fourth Doctor Adventures, The SINESTRAN Kill.
Oh, hello, Inspector.
Get in. Look, to be honest, you could jeopardise my investigation.
Oh, yes. How's it going?
Get out. I've got the law here like I care.
He's my prisoner.
I said run.
Yeah, no. It's them. Run! Into the left. Okay, until you showed up.
London, 1978, and someone's using a warped field damper. Only about 300 years too early.
was just bad luck. Quiet.
What happened?
Mrs. Blake.
It was meant to be a quick job. He's got to die.
Why?
Ann Kelso, WPC 166.
Ah, my 3 lucky numbers. I'll call you Anne.
Big Finish. We love stories.
That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.